Trump's Africa summit heats up rivalry for continent's resources. July 12, 2025. President Donald Trump hosted the leaders from Senegal, Gabon, Liberia, Mauritania, and Guinea-Bissau this week for a three-day Africa summit in Washington, signaling a strategic push to counter China's growing influence on the resource-rich continent. During a White House lunch, Trump emphasized a shift from aid to trade, encouraging African nations to deepen economic ties with the U.S. and consider purchasing American weapons. The summit comes as China eliminates tariffs on African imports, intensifying the global competition for critical minerals are essential for semiconductors, clean energy, and medical tech. Trump's focus on transactional diplomacy highlights his administration's desire to secure access to Africa's mineral wealth and reduce dependence on China. However, African leaders stressed the need for local industrial development rather than simple extraction. There's still a long way to go before U.S. firms can secure dominant mining roles in Africa, said Francois Conradia of Oxford Economics Africa. Gabonese President Brice Oligui Nguema made clear that African countries want local beneficiation and are open to working with other partners. Gabon, rich in manganese and iron ore, exemplifies the continent's mineral potential. Although the 5 participating countries have a combined GDP of $75 billion, their mineral wealth could drive significant growth. Despite courting African nations for trade, the Trump administration has drawn criticism for slashing foreign aid, including funding for USAID, which affects healthcare services across Africa. During the summit, Trump urged leaders to keep remarks brief, citing scheduling issues, and sidestepped questions about visiting the continent. In an awkward moment, Trump complimented Liberia's president on his English-speaking skills, implying it surpassed that of others at the table. Still, the summit offered a platform to boost deals, even as U.S. aid cuts raise concerns. The Trump administration's commercial diplomacy approach may gain traction, said Tenios Manji Chato, noting the pivot away from conditions tied to democratic reforms. Securing critical minerals remains a top priority. Before the summit, Liberia signed a $1.8 billion deal with US-based Ivanhoe Atlantic Incorporated to rehabilitate a railway for iron ore exports from Guinea, potentially boosting US mining access in the region. Security cooperation was another focus, with 4 of the attending nations bordering the volatile Sahel region. Trump encouraged defense investments, ideally involving US-made equipment, and a pledge to discuss immigration amid rising deportations. He also floated the idea of exempting the visiting nations from new reciprocal tariffs set to begin in August. However, uncertainty remains over the future of U.S. initiatives like the Lobito Corridor Railway project, which is threatened by Trump's 50% tariffs on copper. This contradiction on copper undermines the Lobito project, said Alex Vines of Chatham House, calling for better coordination within the administration. By Bloomberg, story by Kamelu Dini Tagba and Akela Gardner, July 12, 2025.